Confident, confident, confident. I can be confident, 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 confident. I can be confident at work.
Hello and welcome to the Confident at Work podcast. I'm your host and your confidence coach, Anna Manning. And today we're talking about the fact that some of you have got two jobs when you thought that you only had one. So the first job is your actual job, right? The job you've been hired and paid to do, with its tasks, responsibilities, challenges. And the second job, which is a hidden job very often, is the job of managing all the mental drama about the first job. And that mental drama might consist of overthinking, overanalyzing, panicking, ruminating. And this week, I want you to think about whether you've got two jobs. The actual job that you're trying to do, and a second job of mental drama about the job that you're trying to do. We're going to dig into how much energy your second job might be taking and the impact that it might be having on you. And I want you to imagine, we'll get to this, what life might look like if you could quit that second job. Because that is what I help people to do all the time. Quit that second job. The mental drama, the overthinking, the ruminating, the panicking about the job that they're trying to do, which leaves them to be able to just get on with the job that they're trying to do, which, if you're anything like most people, probably presents challenges enough without adding a second job on top. So first thing, I want you to try and recognize whether you have a hidden second job. And you might be like, yeah, I know that I have a second job of overanalyzing, worrying, being anxious, ruminating, chewing over every conversation, wondering about everything, covering up so that they don't find out I'm a fraud. You might be like, I already know I've got a second job doing that. If you already know that, great, stay with us. But here are some indications if you're like, I'm not sure, do I have this second job? Here's some examples that might help you to decipher whether or not you do. So, are you overthinking email communication? Is your hand hovering over the mouse before you hit send when you've already checked it 20 times? Are you panicking or at least worrying about that presentation that you know you've got to do in 2 months? Will you not sleep properly the night before? Will you be very stressed on the morning of? Are you ruminating about something that you said in a meeting recently? Are you unpicking everything in your mind, going over it moment by moment, word by word, and noticing every time you stumbled, you struggled, and then blaming yourself for it? Are you constantly wondering about how other people are perceiving you and scanning to try and see their reaction? Are you still beating yourself up for a mistake that you made 3 months ago? Are you going over everything in your head after work, but really only noticing the stuff that went badly and kind of ignoring the stuff that actually did go well? These are all indicators that you have this hidden second job. And as you can imagine, that second job is draining your energy and making your life harder than it needs to be. And I'm going to give you some examples of real clients that I've worked with throughout this episode because they talk about this issue. They talk about their realization that they had a second job and that their day was so much harder because of it. Not only was it eroding their confidence, but it was eroding their productivity, their efficiency, their ability to make decisions, the hours that they were working. So here's what Emma said, and she was talking about the coaching that we did together. It's made me realize how much harder my working day was just because of my own thoughts, self-doubts, and being my own worst critic. Being given the space and opportunity to properly understand what was going on inside my mind and the tools to deal with it has made a huge impact on how I approach new, challenging, or confronting tasks. And I can't recommend it highly enough. Emma realized that she had a second job, dealing with her own thoughts, doubts, and criticisms. And as if her job wasn't hard enough already. Man, it was. But a solution I often see, which people and maybe you are trying, is working harder. And I don't think that working harder is the solution to this problem of having this second job, of all the mental drama about the first job. It's a common response, but it's ineffective for a number of reasons. And if you're using this solution, you might be doing things like working longer hours to keep up, to make it up, becoming hyper efficient and trying to kind of manage your time, your diary, your schedule, and really trying to schedule in both of your jobs. Time for the actual job and time for the mental work, which goes alongside. And that might work in terms of getting the work done, getting things over the line. It's likely that your employer isn't really going to notice that this problem exists, that you have a second job, because you are employing this solution of working harder, working more in order to get done what you need to get done, in order to get things over the line. However, ultimately, these strategies don't solve the problem. They don't solve the fact that you have a second job or help you to reduce or remove the second job, so all the mental drama. They just allow more time for that second job alongside the first. And of course, if you keep going in that way, if you have to keep overworking, overanalyzing, over-preparing, working longer hours to add in this second job alongside the first one, it can lead to exhaustion. It can lead to burnout. It can lead to you not really enjoying the job that you actually enjoyed very much. It can lead to you waking up at 3 a.m. It can lead to you never really closing off, even when you close your laptop. And the funny thing is, sometimes when I talk about this with clients, I ask them, what's more exhausting, the actual job, the actual work of the job, or the worrying, ruminating, etc. about the job? I don't know why it always surprises me, but to this day, the answer's always been the same. They tell me, and without hesitation, it's the mental drama about the job which is more exhausting than the actual job. And I always think that's quite something, especially if I'm looking at or working with a person who I know, and this is most of my clients, are working really hard and doing a really good job. And they might be, from all this mental drama that they've got going on top of the things that they have to do, exhausted. And maybe even getting to the point where they're like, what is the point? So that solution that you might have employed in best efforts, right? In order to carry on doing the good job that you're doing, in order to be efficient and turn out the work that you need to do, you have to add in more time, more energy, more of your resources when you've got this hidden second job happening. And my clients, they're so committed to the work they do, to the job they do, to the clients that they have, that they're still there doing all of that. They're still there getting good feedback. They're still there being present for their team. They're still there being responsive to clients. They're still wearing all the other hats that they're also asked to wear within their organizations. It shows a real level of commitment and a real level of drive, but it's tiring. Sometimes it's exhausting. So what can be done? Well, because it's the end of 2024 or nearing the end of 2024, my attention's turned to 2025. What will happen in 2025? How will I support people in 2025? What's the kinds of things that I'm going to be doing with Confident at Work? And this is one of the things that I really am committed to continuing and to doing even louder and even prouder than before, is to set you up for success by helping you figure out how to quit this second job. And I want to encourage you to dream a little along with me about what life without this second job could look like, what work could feel like without the second job of all of the mental drama about the job that you're trying to do. This is what one client said. I've never felt particularly comfortable in myself or confident, and I use various masks to cover this. Through my coaching journey, I've learned so much about myself and I've learned to be more comfortable with myself. And now I spend a lot less time in my own head worrying. I feel a lot happier personally and professionally as a result. And other people have noticed the changes in me too. My husband, my colleagues, my line manager, and me are all loving the change in me. And I want to suggest that if you have a second job, like this client did, of worrying about the job, that this is possible for you too. Even if this has been your entire career, if you are good at your job, if you have the knowledge and expertise to back up where you are, if you know deep down there is a reason why you are where you are, you do not need to have a second job of worrying, fretting, ruminating, over preparing, and panicking on top of the good job that you are already doing. And let's imagine for a second that in 2025, you actually quit that job. Quit. You resign. You hand in your notice and you resign. And interestingly, most notice periods are 3 months. And I work with people for 3 months. And in that time, they hand in their notice, they work their notice, and then they're gone. So let's see what work life specifically, could be like for you without a second job. Imagine not really thinking too much about the day when you're on the way into work. Maybe you're enjoying a book or listening to a podcast. You're not really fretting about what's going to happen when you get there. You just know that whatever it is, you'll be able to handle it. And as you open up your tasks or your laptop or you start to prepare for the day, you wonder what's ahead instead of fret or panic about what might be ahead. You take things as they come. You deal with challenges as they arise. You meet the people you need to meet. You do the things you need to do. And then you're moving on with your day. There's a notable absence of all the other mental noise and drama. You don't spend hours getting round to something that you really know you need to tackle. You just open it up and start. And once you start, you find, like you always find, that actually it is doable. It is possible. You don't spend ages hovering over an email and checking it a million times. You draft it in the best way you can, check over it once, and then send it. You don't give it another thought. It just disappears into the ether. And when someone asks to see you the following day, you don't automatically jump to any conclusions about how they're going to have something awful to say or about how you're going to get sacked. You don't really think anything. You just assume that they'll tell you what it is they need from you when they meet you. When you're closing down for the day, you can close down for the day, your mind as well as your laptop. It doesn't mean that your day doesn't have any challenges. It doesn't mean there aren't any moments where you think, fucking hell, this job's a drag. But it does mean that you only have one job that you need to focus on, the job you're actually doing. So you can use all your energy to get on with that in the best way that you can and know that you did your best, that it's good enough, and that you're going home. Lighter, freer, happier, maybe more fun, definitely more confident. Here's what Daniela had to say. Before starting, I was highly skeptical about myself and coaching, but for some reason, I still decided to take a leap into the unknown. Today, I think that was one of the best decisions of my life. I know myself better. I have tools that I didn't have 3 months ago, and I know how to use them to achieve the results I want, both in work and in my private life. Today, I've chaired a meeting that wasn't planned to be chaired by me with people I've never met before, and I felt like a new person. I was smiley, calm, assertive, clear, and fully present. What did you do to me? She says with a question mark and an exclamation mark. Well, here's what we did. We handed in the notice on her second job. We handed in the notice on overthinking, second guessing, and doubting. We quit that job. And when she quit that job, what happened when she was asked to chair a meeting with loads of people that she didn't know. She was smiley, calm, assertive, clear, and fully present. So I wonder what you could do if you quit that second job. If you decided that in 2025, it's time to hand in your notice, finally, that second job that you might have been doing for months or even years. Believe me, it is possible. It might take a bit of work. You may have to work a notice period, but you can do it. Here's what another client had to say. At work, I've struggled with the fear of speaking up and sharing ideas and engaging in conversations and meeting, a fear of being judged as incompetent. And that would keep me in my safe zone, affect my performance and productivity, and the potential to further improvements. Within weeks of starting work with Anna, I noticed a difference in my behaviour. The fear was not so pronounced. I was becoming assertive, questioning and contributing to meetings. From then on, my confidence was growing fast. She realised she had a second job, a fear of being found to be incompetent, and it had weaved its way through everything. Speaking up, sharing ideas, a fear of engaging in conversations, a fear of contributing in meetings, fear of challenge. But once she saw that she had a second job, she handed in a notice, we worked the notice period, she quit. And if you decide you want to quit your second job in 2025, I can help. Click the link in the show notes and book a call now. It's free. We'll go over all of your challenges and we'll set a vision for how life could look if you quit that second mental drama job in 2025. I'll tell you the work that we need to do in order to get you there, and you can decide whether or not you want to do it. All right. I will see you in next week's episode. Bye.
Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident. Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident at work.